Tigers started off the week with a big recruiting win Monday. Peyton Houston out of Evangel for the class of 2027 picked LSU over Oklahoma, Southern Cal, and others. Shay's sick this week, so lucky, man. We call out the big gun. Steve Wiltfong, good enough to join us here. He's from On 3 and Rivals, their VP, and now the National Director of Recruiting and Transfer Portal. Steve, we appreciate the time, man. How are you?
Doing well, man. Didn't realize the big shoes I was filling coming on your show today.
I tell you, man, like, Shay's great to us. He comes on weekly, kind of gives us the recruiting deets. Said he was battling a little flu. I said, you know what? It's been a minute since we've talked to Wiltfong. Let's see if we can run him down. What are we to do it, Steve? I mean, LSU lands Peyton Houston, and there's various times, as you know, that it was thought, man, he was going to be Southern Cal, he was going to be Oklahoma. How did LSU pull this off?
Well, I think LSU really turned up the intensity for Peyton Houston back in January, got him back to campus a few times, had a great spring visit where he got to see a day in the life of an LSU quarterback, which included the virtual reality things that LSU has in the facility to help prepare LSU quarterback for game day, getting around the coaching staff again, Brian Kelly, Joe Sloan, understanding the history and tradition and magnitude of playing quarterback at LSU, the chance to win the Heisman Trophy, the chance to be under center for one of the best offenses in the country, to play for a program with so much history. And then coming back this past weekend for a game day visit, seeing Death Valley again, getting the feel for how important it is to play quarterback and play for a program of this magnitude, getting a chance to stay closer to home, be closer to family. LSU was able to check all the boxes and beat Oklahoma, beat USC for the coveted quarterback in the 2027 cycle.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to welcome Our Lady of the Lake to AFR LSU. As the championship health partner of LSU athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake serve the champions on the field in the purple and gold, but that same level of care is available to you and your family. I've been a proud supporter of Our Lady of the Lake my entire life, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom as a high schooler to helping so many of the fundraising efforts for the standalone Children's Hospital, to my own son being a patient now at that very Children's Hospital, and my primary care physician, Dr. Kurt Chastain, at Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Our Lady of the Lake has been a part of my medical journey my entire life, and you can learn more as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. Steve, the big question that people have around here, because, we're in Baton Rouge, where I sit right now, we're probably 10 or 15 minutes from the Dunham School. Elijah Haven's been in our studio. People see, the number one quarterback in the country for 27 is in Baton Rouge. Everyone's excited about Houston, but does that compromise your ability to get Elijah Haven? What can you tell us about where Haven's recruitment currently stands?
Well, LSU would like to sign more than one quarterback in 2027 class. Will that be Nussmeier from Texas, the younger brother of Garrett Nussmeier, LSU starting quarterback? Could it be Elijah Haven? I think LSU's on the gas right now for Nussmeier. And so we'll see how this cycle continues to go. But for Haven, obviously, he's got some great opportunities as well. Florida's a program that was trending coming into the season. Things have picked up with Penn State and Auburn. Alabama's always been a major contender. All I know is that LSU went out there and got Peyton Houston. That was one of the guys they really wanted. Nussmeier's someone that has been high on the board for a long time. And I think with Haven, it's still a process that's developing as far as LSU's concerned.
What can you tell us, Steve, about Colton Nussmeier, considering we've gotten to see Garrett in Baton Rouge for the last 5 years, and there's sibling legacy recruits happen, and we see it right now with the Weeks brothers. I mean, there's been the Jeffersons and a lot of different, throughout the – I mean, I got to ask Steve whenever, Leonard Fournette signed, like, man, does he like his brother? No, he's not. Like, his brother is the greatest talented running back who's ever been here. But what can you tell us about Colton Nussmeier?
Well, Colton's a guy that had a solid sophomore season, completing close to 60% of his passes for nearly 2,000 yards and 16 touchdowns. I think he's already shown some improvement as a junior, completing 75% of his throws through 2 games, also being more of a dual threat, rushing for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. That already surpasses what he did with his legs as a sophomore. Obviously, terrific pedigree in that family. Their father, Doug, played in the NFL out of Idaho. And I think Garrett has already shown that at LSU. what he can do with all the intangibles in addition to the tangibles. And I think Colton, you're excited about the same things. He's looking at a bunch of SEC schools. LSU, again, is a school that we've liked in that recruitment, but Alabama, Florida, Georgia are three others that are very prominent.
You also mentioned, Steve, LSU want to take 2 quarterbacks in one class, which is, I know, something we've talked about a good bit with Shea here as well when we talk to him. But yeah, I really wonder if the days of getting 2 elite prospects at quarterback to commit in the same class are a thing of the past. How realistic is that?
Well, it certainly doesn't happen very often. Alabama's got 2 rivals 300 quarterbacks committed this cycle. Jet Tamala from Iowa, and then Taden Kawa, Hawaii, who's playing in Utah. So those are guys that also weren't really considered household national recruiting names, even though they're ranked high. I think with LSU, these 3 guys that they're in on are guys that were heavily recruited by other programs. So I think LSU will look to the transfer portal after this season and also see who they can get to help compete with Michael Van Buren and players like that moving forward. And then we'll see who they're able to add to Peyton Houston in 2027. I just know that Peyton Houston was one of their top targets, if not the top target at the position. They have him committed. Nussmeier is someone that always had a committable offer as well, and we go from there.
I'm glad you mentioned 2026 because a week ago, Landon Duckworth was on LSU's campus. I think by now everybody knows he's a South Carolina commit, and ever since the Bryce Underwood flip, LSU's been struggling to catch up with numbers. How realistic of an opportunity does LSU have to maybe flip Duckworth from South Carolina to LSU before signing day?
Well, the recent intel on Duckworth has been that he is solid to South Carolina and not going to flip. Now, we'll see what happens as the season continues. Obviously, he took a visit to LSU, and there was some thought coming out of that he would return for an official visit. We'll see if that comes to fruition. If it does, it certainly shows you how real LSU is in that one. And then I think that they're having dialogue with other 2026 quarterbacks committed elsewhere. It just hasn't gotten to the point of a official visit or a return to Baton Rouge. So we'll see how it goes there. We'll see where they turn in the transfer portal. I know they were excited to land Michael Van Buren out of the portal last year, who obviously started some games at Mississippi State. And so, again, I know I've been saying this, but we'll see how it continues to go.
Do you think the expectation, the portal, I completely agree with you. Do you think the portal expectation for LSU in 2026 is that they're looking for a depth option like A.J. Swan a year ago or even Van Buren this year? Or are they looking for someone like Jayden Daniels, who had been a multi-year starter at a Power 4 that can come in and maybe bridge the gap in 2026?
I think if they could find an elite guy that has a chance to be a Heisman Trophy winner and first-round pick, they'd go for him.
Did anybody really think that was the case, though, whenever he came over from Arizona State? I don't think that was the conversation. I'll tell you, Ryan Clark did. I'll give him credit. When Ryan Clark came on our show, he said that's a future Heisman winner. But he might have been the only one at that time.
Well, what I would say to that is that Jayden Daniels was obviously a high-ranked quarterback that showed at Arizona State that he had a lot of promise. I mean, his last season, he had 2 seasons at Arizona State where he threw for over 2,000 yards. So he had a lot of reps and showed a lot of promise and got into the LSU system and had a chance as his first-year starter to show that he was promising, but he exploded in his last year, right? Kind of similar to Joe Burrow, had a good first year at LSU, exploded in his second year. And I think if a terrific prospect came into the portal, LSU would certainly swing there, but they would also, take a depth guy that would come in and just push the room behind Michael Van Buren as well. But I think if you're LSU and you're thinking about your portal options right now, you're hoping it's an elite level guy that just comes in and takes the baton and is the guy for 2 years at least.
He is Steve Wiltfong, National Recruiting and Transfer Portal for Rivals and On3. Good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here. Steve, we always appreciate it, man. Great to hear from you. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Guys, we will talk soon because LSU's in line to sign one of the top classes in the country in 2027, and they're certainly out there trying to flip some guys in 2026, so there'll be a lot to unpack as the season continues. Thanks for having me out.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.